I was at an event and there were 3 wheelchair users on a panel, all fit athletes, and it was just their stories in terms of how unseen they are is really it's very moving, but also as an able-bodied person, really quite shocking. And it's really important to understand.
And then I tried to find driving lessons for him and his sister, because his sister also has learning difference and autism. I couldn't find anyone. I found one in Northamptonshire as a driving instructor specialising in helping people with learning difference.
Hello and welcome to Women in the Driving Seat, where we take the time to shine a spotlight on the wonderful women in automotive. This week we're going to be talking about accessibility. How accessible and inclusive is the car industry for those with disabilities, those who have other needs, and those who just need some bloomin' help? How do we compare with other industries? Here to help us answer some of these thorny questions are my 2 fabulous guests today, Lisa Thomas and Liz Warner. Let's have a look at those bios before we kick off. Lisa Thomas is Chief Marketing Officer at Motability Operations, where she has been for 3 years. Prior to this, Lisa was Global Chief Brand Officer for Virgin Group, following a long career in advertising. She is a proud member and ex-president of Women in the Advertising and Communications Leadership and has held several non-executive roles. Lisa is married to Giles, with 2 almost grown-up sons, Milo and Morgan, 2 even more grown-up stepchildren, Zach and Darcy, and an Australian Labradoodle, Scout. She's always on the go, seeking out new challenges, and is never happier than when surrounded by great friends with a spicy margarita in her hand. Nice. Liz Warner is one of the founders and CEO of Different Kind, a retail business that sells only goods that do good, which has just opened its first store. Each product is different, stylish, exceptionally well made, and kind in that it seeks to change the world. Liz is a passionate advocate for social business. She was CEO of Comic Relief, founder of TV production company Betty, which she ran for nearly 14 years and which made The Undateables, for which they won Broadcast Diversity Champion. At Channel 4, she was commissioning editor responsible for Grand Designs, which I love, Location, River Cottage, Nigella, and more, including the first Big Brother. Sorry about that, she says. She is a fired-up, big-hearted rebel who wants to change the world. Mother to 3 young people aged 21, 22 and 23, ouch, and married to a very resilient man. 2 hens, 2 cats and a mother with dementia completes the home that never seems to sleep. She spends a lot of time in her car. It has been her office, sanctuary and thinking place. Wow, welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely to have you both here. Right, let's just dive straight in with the question I always start with. Let's go for Lisa. What plates have you been spinning? What balls have you been dropping this week in your hectic life?
Well, it has been quite a hectic week, and at the Future of the Car yesterday, here today. But I have a particularly entertaining story about plate spinning and balls dropping for you today.
Do tell.
Tuesday was a very long day and managed to fit in lots of meetings, and we are in governance committee mode, and I had submitted, I thought, my papers. At the end of the day, we sponsor the British Wheelchair Basketball team, and I went to an event with them, which was super interesting, got on the tube to an email from my boss letting me know that he wasn't happy with my paper for the governance committee, for which needed to be submitted today. So I got on my mobile phone trying to get more information, restructure, missed my tube stop, went all the way out of town.
Wow.
Oh no.
Then subsequently did that 4 more times.
No!
Came out, and just ended up between the District Line, the Hammersmith and City Line, and the Piccadilly Line, all because I was like, I just need to get this done. And every time I got on the train, I got completely absorbed into it. So I got home at 10:05, having left London Bridge at about 7:15.
Oh my God, you see, now that used to happen when we'd had 15 cocktails too many.
No.
No, because it's sad indictment
It's
of our
a
times now,
really
isn't
sad
it?
indictment, and a really sad indictment of my personality that I've just got to get into it and sort it there and
That is
then.
dedicated, though. I love it. Wow, that's a great
Got
start.
and when I got on the train at Earl's Court, I went to one of those flip seats, sat down, went all the way to the floor.
Oh! Wow, you've had a cracking week. Well done.
I'm here now.
Take a breather while Liz tells us about her week.
Well, I've had a sort of juggly week. Like we've moved. We've opened a store which is currently being all done up. So we're in the middle of like building work. So there's dust everywhere. But luckily it's not your home. And we are moving our warehouse from London, where we've been working with a disabled warehouse called Mail Out, where they employ people with learning difference. And we're moving it to Cirencester. So we've got vans and lorries and baskets. And anyway, so it's been a week of organisation and juggling things in the family and taking my mum for an eye test. How lovely.
Wow.
Do you know what I've dropped?
Mad.
I've dropped date night.
Oh no.
Is that a great hardship?
Well, it would have been nice
Probably
to...
didn't land well.
No. Well, would have been nice to go out occasionally and get a
Yeah.
bit of time for yourself, isn't it? And realised that when I took my feet out of my trainers, that when it was so hot that, anyway, that I definitely dropped those somewhere. And they should have had some attention along, like maybe a month ago.
Do you think that date night, I'm completely going off script now, does it feel important to you? Like, what, once a week you need to set aside time
It's
for your
not
relationship?
once a week. If it was once a week, then, it's more like once a month.
Right, okay.
And so it's quite important, particularly if you've got young people with learning difference in your home and your mother's got dementia, to get out and finish a sentence.
Yes.
That's more like it. So I wouldn't really say it's overly romantic. It's more like, can we actually have time to
talk.
To have a conversation.
or just finish the sentence without someone
Yeah.
else?
I hear you. I get it. Okay, Lisa, now tell me a bit about Motability for those people listening who are like, well, that's that all about.
Sure. So Motability scheme was founded about 50 years ago to really, I guess, address a failure in the market. The reality is, despite, best intentions, the car market is unaffordable and not as accessible as it might be, or the mainstream car market. So the Motability scheme was founded to meet the needs of disabled people. And basically, the way it works is if you qualify for the higher rate disability allowance, PIP, you are able to exchange your allowance for a Motability scheme car. Mm-hmm. That enables you to get a new vehicle and an all-inclusive package, which includes things like insurance, roadside recovery, quick fit tyres, windscreen recovery, so a kind of really rounded package on top of the car itself. And what we do is we run that on they exchange their allowance for a 3 or 5 year lease, and we run that and we take the kind of risk on all the costs over the 3 years. So the price is the price you pay, irrespective if insurance costs go up during that time, which obviously gives customers financial security and peace of mind. And we take that risk on their behalf. And then at the end of the lease, cars come back to us, and we sell them on the open market, and any profit we make from that is then reinvested into customers.
Okay.
And the kind of future of the scheme. So that's how it works.
And one question I've always had in my mind is, what percentage of the vehicles that you're leasing have adaptations in them for those that need adaptations in order to drive or be a passenger, I suppose?
So we have at the sort of, I guess, the highly adapted end, 35,000 wheelchair accessible vehicles, and our overall accessible vehicle program is about 100,000 vehicles. And to give you a sense of the scale of that, if you were to look at it against other lease companies, that would be the 6th largest lease company in the UK. So it's quite a considerable percentage of people, and that varies from wheelchair accessible vehicles, where you can take drive from your vehicle or put your wheelchair into the vehicle with you, and sit in it and obviously be driven, to something that would enable you to control the pedals with your hands and steering wheel, for example. But also we do have people who choose to have someone else who drives for them. So there are quite a lot of cars that aren't adapted, but are driven by carers or family members.
Right, okay, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Liz, let's come to you. You and I know each other from She's Electric, which is a national roadshow, kind of trying to unite electric cars with women, test drives and so on. You're not involved in the automotive industry per se, but you came to She's Electric because of your involvement with Different Kind. So tell us a bit about Different Kind, first of all.
Okay, Different Kind is a retailer. We're online. We've now got a shop. And we do, the majority of our business is corporate gifting with purpose. So it came out of Comic Relief. When I was at Comic Relief, we visited projects every month to see, where the money was going and to look at the impact it was having. And the social businesses were the ones that really resonated with me because I thought business can do good. Wow, that's amazing. So there's no begging bowl, there's no donations. It's about buying something. I'll give you an example. So we have glass made in Ngwenya in South Africa by a project employing people who would never have had work, and they make the glass from recycled glass heated using the oil from KFC in Africa. Another one is we have a bakery. We sell the most amazing cheese biscuits, go in our hampers, etc., from a bakery in Bristol, which employs young people with Down syndrome and autism. And then they're all about employability, that one. And so we thought, there's nowhere to find these. I thought when I saw these projects with Comic Relief, how amazing these hidden gems. No one knows about them. Yeah. Can we bring them into sort of the equivalent of like the Comran shop of purpose? So we've curated from hundreds what we consider to be the most delicious or the best made products, but they're all either employing people, giving work to refugees, employing ex-offenders, helping change the world for the better. So we're trying to say, if you're going to shop, why not shop? Or you're going to gift, or you're going to do corporate gifting, why give money to the usual suspects, which I won't name, when you could give a really nice candle in a beautiful box made by young people with mental health issues.
Oh, and I must say, your package, I'm a sucker for good packaging and design. Your packaging is beautiful
Well,
across the range of stuff, just everything. Now, I mean, you have so many interesting thoughts on and views on women in business, equality in society, which is why you spoke so well on all the panels at She's Electric, that, I spoke on the panels about cars, and then you spoke on the panels more about kind of gender equality, empowering women and so on. And it seemed to me from everything you said that half stemmed from working at Betty, working at Comic Relief, but also from your personal experiences and the children that you've had in your home. Maybe you can bring some of that into how you feel about cars and your interaction with the car world from an outsider. Because I love having guests on this podcast that aren't in the automotive industry, that can stand outside of it and say, well, look, I might not know much about what you guys do, but looking in from the outside, it looks to me like X, Y, and Z. And also my personal interactions with the car world through buying or driving are blah. Give us some thoughts, Liz.
Well,
give us some pearls of wisdom.
Well, I have no role in the automotive industry.
Good, glad.
But was responsible for car programmes at Channel 4. I really, really love driving. So I'm a passionate driver, and I am probably, I am a customer. I find the car industry isn't for me. It doesn't have it doesn't engage me. I've had one really good buying experience in my whole life, and that was, am I allowed to name a brand? Well, I bought a Mini, and it's when Minis were just...
You can definitely name a brand if it's a good story, for sure.
Yeah, it was a really good story. And it's the only time I've been sold a car by a woman. And the showroom was amazingly family-friendly. I'd got 3 children, 2 of whom have got learning difference. They provided entertainment and amusement and snacks, and it was brilliant while I went on a test drive. So I've had one really brilliant experience. My other experiences are I feel generally like I'm talked down to. I was talking to some friends about coming on this, and they were saying, I feel like garages aren't for me. I try to avoid them. I feel like I'm slightly mansplained every time I go to the garage. I might not have the knowledge, like I don't have the knowledge of a washing machine inside, but I'm made to feel a bit stupid, and I don't know if I'm being ripped off. So I just feel like I would really love to see vintage fashion online for cars, or I'd like to, if there was a garage run by women for women, I would actually, and even if it was in Cornwall, I'd drive to it,
And you don't live in Cornwall.
And I don't live anywhere near Cornwall.
Yeah.
But that's the sort of thing I feel, is that I just don't know why it's so slow to wake up to the fact that we're nearly half of your customers.
Yeah. And you're a can-do kind of woman, because don't I recall on one She's Electric thing, you saying that, because you adopted your children,
Yes,
didn't you? And
yes.
wasn't there some story about you got the call, like they're ready to be collected and come home, and you were like, well, we don't have a car that we can fit 3 car seats in. You kind of more or less went via a car dealer on the way to pick up your kids to get one.
I read that about you.
Yes, we went to Car Giant on the way to actually fetch them.
Absolutely wonderful.
I mean, we hadn't got a car. We were living in a 1.5 bedroom flat. That you've got all the preparation in the world, and then your final moment of telling you that you can go and collect your children is 24 hours notice.
Yeah.
Wow. So had to go buy potty, buy car seat, buy car.
In that order.
Yeah.
You see, I mentioned that because I wanted to kind of show everyone listening that you're a can-do kind of woman. I mean, you're my kind of woman, and yet even you as a can-do, gutsy woman, feels like the car world is a bit like, I don't know how to interact with that. I feel a bit alienated from it. I'm a bit wary of it.
Well, I feel like I just feel I'm going to be ripped off. I don't know where to trust. So that's the thing. And there aren't enough pathways for me. So I feel like there could be some really, really simple pathways. And I would really like to go to a garage, as I did, be met by a woman, because I will trust her more. Sorry about that, men.
No, well, there it is. Lisa,
Yeah.
a quick word. I think, we have to address, for those listening, Motability was in the news a few months ago, because the number of people who were getting new cars through it has grown hugely to more than 800,000 people. As a spectator, earlier this month said Motability has expanded well beyond its original purpose and is ripe for reform. Has any of the criticism that you've weathered this year been fair, would you say? I mean, to me, it looks for a start like it's been divided quite politically, along political lines, left-wing versus right-wing media, right-wing being more critical, which feeds into much wider socioeconomic discussions than this podcast is willing to get into.
Probably I should.
What are your thoughts around it?
So I think two things as a very kind of easy backdrop. We're going through a period of welfare reform, triggered by Rachel Reeves' desire a need to save money. Odd place to start is probably my only political comment. But as part of that, we have become a proxy for the growing welfare state because the scheme is growing. But where we sit is as I explained, our customers come from those who are eligible for the higher rate PIP allowance. We have no say in the eligibility for that PIP allowance, and our growth has gone in line and actually slightly lagged the actual growth of people receiving the PIP allowance. I think there is another contributor, which is that cars are less affordable and times are harder for our customers, so perhaps they're thinking more about how they use their allowance for a car than they were. But we have the same percentage of the PIP, of the eligible base for the scheme, as we have always had, which is about 30%.
Okay.
So it's fairly constant. I think the one area where, like, we've had, if I were to be slightly lazy scrutiny, has been around misuse of the scheme. That's become, that was in the Spectator article, you've probably seen that. And, obviously, given, I think we received 2.8 billion in benefit from customers last year. So it's fair that we should come under criticism from that point of view. We should be able to stand by how we spend that money for our customers. But that all became a bit embroiled in misuse. And I think the thing to say is, obviously, our scheme is designed for our disabled customers, and we are very focused on making sure that the right people are in those cars or are driven by people who are close to them and who are legitimately caring for them. And that level of misuse is really, really low. It's no different to any business or any scenario. And I guess the bit that feels a bit unfair is that then eclipses for the vast majority of people who have a great experience on the scheme and for whom we enable them to live regular lives, access society, access work, access education, access healthcare, all of which is super important to them.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about
and
it.
I'd like to say, and that saves money.
Yeah,
Because
ultimately.
if people can go to work, if people have the dignity of work and also the ability of going to work, they're contributing to society economically and in, they're going to stay
Couldn't have said it better
healthy
myself,
longer.
Liz.
There you go.
Sorry to be a
Exactly.
fan.
No, I think it's absolutely true.
Okay. Well, it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for in this podcast
Oh.
episode, which is, of course, Podcast Pit Stop. It's your quick fire round. You haven't seen the questions. I'm going to pick on Liz first.
Oh, God.
Are you ready?
No, but
Excellent.
yes.
Let's plough on then. Brand new car or beat up banger?
Beat up banger.
Silly Isles or Don't Be Silly, the Caribbean?
Silly Isles.
Netflix or Apple TV with your Betty hat on?
Oh, my God. This week, Apple.
Buy a car in person or buy online?
Buy a car in person.
Comfortable talking car finance or not?
Try not to.
Sustainable living or ethical living?
Both. And social.
Oh, yeah.
So I
Great
got the
addition.
third, yeah.
You're quite right. My poor bad judgment there. Thank you very much. Well done. Efficiently answered. Lisa, see if you can do as well.
Oh God. No pressure.
Charging point or petrol station?
Or charging point.
Marketing or PR?
Or marketing.
Town or country?
Town.
TV or radio?
TV.
SUV or hatchback?
SUV.
Children or husband?
You can't ask me to answer that.
And yet I just did.
I'm going children. We've got 4 of them and only 1 husband.
Oh, it's just maths. Thank you very much. That's that. Okay, let's get back into it. Liz, talk to me about your son, because one of your sons, how are you split between your 3? 1 son, 2 daughters, 2 sons?
Two sons, 1 daughter.
I'm sure you talked to me at a She's Electric event about your son who was struggling to kind of access driving lessons, or tell me about that again.
Yeah, so my eldest son has learning difference and autism and has been really keen to drive. He works about 10 minutes away. So currently, I'm really keen for him to drive because I take him to work and I collect him from work. Or my resilient husband does. So I'm just trying to... so he's really keen to learn. He started to do the test online, so to do the test online and...
The theory test.
Theory test, yeah. And he got within 1 point of passing. So I just know I kept saying to him, if you can get that close, you'll be able to pass. But there's no support at all around that I can find. So I'm open to anybody who could tell me if there is, to just help get people through that. I have to drop him outside a centre in the middle, of town. He goes in on his own. You're not allowed to, it's an alien environment. Anyway, I'm just saying more support to learn to drive. And then I tried to find driving lessons for him and his sister, because his sister also has learning difference and autism. I couldn't find anyone. I found one in Northamptonshire as a driving instructor specialising in helping people with learning difference.
What sort of support would be helpful? What sort of additional support are you looking for, or are your children looking for?
Well, I suppose basically an instructor who can take them through things slower.
All right.
So not 3 instructions, 1, maybe 1 and 2, but 3 instructions normally with learning difference. The third one is gone.
Right.
So it's a simpler way of teaching. It's someone who's prepared to put in. It might take more time. It will take more time. So I suppose it's a bit like having a learning support or a teaching assistant, to help you learn in a mainstream learning environment. So they've been to mainstream schools.
Yes, I mean, when you put it like that, actually, it's a bit of a no-brainer, isn't it? I mean, I don't know why we don't have... Maybe somebody's listening is going to write in and say, we do. Here's
Well,
the
maybe
help
if they
and support.
do, I'd love to know, because I have looked, and it just seemed to me like an opportunity missed, that mainstream, driving instructors could take an additional exam somehow, or do some additional training to make them actually able to teach people to drive.
So I do know that the Motability Foundation, who oversees us, does offer driving lessons.
Oh, brilliant.
However, I don't know the detail, and I don't know what the criteria are for meeting that. So I mean, the PIP allowance is not means tested, but I don't know what my bad, I should. But I will follow up.
Oh, there you go.
Great. Thank you.
We'll hold you to that.
Yeah, do.
Good. Brilliant.
And actually, while you're on that topic, Lisa, about foundation versus...
Yeah.
Just explain to me again about the charitable status, or the foundation versus the business side of Motability, how it all splits out.
So the Motability Foundation was founded first, and is a charitable foundation, and thinks about all disabled people with regard to their transport needs. And we are an operating business that is contracted by Motability Foundation. So they oversee us to deliver the Motability scheme. So we're the operating business that delivers it, and they're the charitable organisation that oversees us.
Okay. And this... I don't know if this is a silly question or not, but
I'm sure it's not.
I'll plough ahead anyway. It's never stopped me in the past. How important is it to have an understanding of and get involved with disabled people with physical and mental challenges if you work for Motability? You need, I think all companies need fairly detailed levels of empathy with their customer base and an appreciation of the challenges that they face, and that presumably is no different from Motability.
No, I mean, I would say, kind of bringing customers into the heart of an organisation is kind of my chosen specialist subject in many ways. It's the thing I'm most passionate about and always have been, even in old worlds of advertising, when like understanding who customers was about ABC One adults. So, it was always something that I'm passionate about. And we have always put our customers first. We still have quite an analogue way of working with customers. We still have quite a big call centre. But they are, in many respects, a lifeline for our customers. So not only do we have good understandings from a data point of view, we have conversations with customers every single day. And they are much more detailed than a normal customer service query. They're obviously sometimes very unhappy calls with regard to personal well-being, sometimes very joyful calls about giving us nice feedback, and sometimes we need to be drawn more into helping them solve an issue, like being stranded by the side of the road, not being able to access things, and we get embroiled in their lives. But since I've been at Motability, we've also started a bigger insight program, which has involved us setting up a dedicated platform called Headlight, where we have 6,000 customers, and we use that for kind of in-the-moment feedback and surveys to get into our customers. Right. We're looking at running a customer closeness program, and we do things like sponsor British Wheelchair Basketball, Team Brit, to both engage with other disabled audiences, but also help understand the struggles. I was at an event as I mentioned earlier, on Tuesday, and there were 3 wheelchair users on a panel, all fit athletes, and it was just their stories in terms of how unseen they are is really, like, it's very moving, but also as an able-bodied person, really quite shocking. And it's really important to understand. One woman talked about people dehumanizing them, so that as a disabled person, you weren't considered to be human. It was like you had no emotion or feelings. You were just a thing, which was really, really hard to hear as an able-bodied person, as someone in the role that I have. But it's important that we hear it. It's really important.
What you just said something about some of the calls in the call centre, and it might be helping somebody stranded, which made me think about electric and people with disabilities with charging, range anxiety, charge anxiety, which able-bodied people have anyway. Do you think that electric is going to provide more opportunities and more positive aspects to it than petrol and diesel, in that, for example, those with driveways can charge in the privacy of their own homes, can have the charging point fitted at a height that makes it wheelchair accessible and so on? Or do you think there are challenges thrown up that we didn't have with petrol and diesel?
So my personal view is the electric future is great for disabled people, but it's not at the moment. So I think it will be. I think the advantages of things like charging at home, connected home, will bring more affordable charging ultimately, and more affordable electricity more generally. So anything that helps reduce costs will be amazing. But for our customers, I think the electric future is pretty frightening unless they are well set up for it with chargers at home. And the public charging network, as you will know yourself, I think there's 80,000 public chargers out there. There are 1.4 million electric drivers already, and the public charging network is expensive and inaccessible. But I mean, I once had a conversation with Helen Dolphin, who you may have come across she works quite closely with us, and she was like, it's just great not to have to go to a petrol station. Petrol stations are awful for disabled people, which of course they are, and they're sort of awful for everyone. So I think it is a good thing, but I think we could go a bit quicker to get there. And we have customers who are more risk averse, and for them, the idea of having a car uncharged on the street or even on their driveway is intimidating and frightening. Not able to access the next hospital appointment. What if there's an emergency? What if I get stranded on a motorway?
I see it. Yeah, for sure. Liz, that kind of reminds me in turn of, are you happy to talk briefly about your female friend, and the experience, because you contacted me a while ago, didn't you? I'll kind of hand this whole thing over to you. We're kind of getting towards the end, but I'd love if you could just kind of summarise her experience of trying to buy a car and the issues she faced.
Yeah, I feel like I'm sort of like the challenger to the industry. I feel like I'm
no,
coming
but
like,
you are. Let's have it.
Okay. A friend of mine who, I won't identify her at all, had left a very abusive relationship with much support from women who provided a great network around her. Really admirable. She did it at the end of last year. When she found herself somewhere to live, she found herself a job, but she also had to declare herself bankrupt due to the financial controls he'd been exerting over her. She had no money. So she had no ability to borrow any money. So she needed a car to get to work. And she rang me and said on a Sunday, I was then emailing you thinking, I know someone who knows all about the car industry, I'll email Erin. So it's like that. But because she was about to go down to London on a train, which she couldn't afford, to go and meet this man who said he'd got a car for her. It was £5,000. I said, do you know who this man is? Apparently it's parked on his front drive.
Has she just seen an advert or something?
She'd gone, and seen an advert for a car in her price range. She was about to go down on her own. I said, I don't want to say you're vulnerable, but you are vulnerable when you come out of this situation. She'd done amazing progress to get to where she got to, but she was vulnerable. And I said, I don't think you should go. I think there must be a way, there must be somewhere where people can buy cars safely without feeling, when you're at a vulnerable stage in your life or you're a woman needing support. And I know there's a furniture business that does this. There's a furniture organisation called Furnishing Futures where you can go and get furniture, for example, to restart your home after an abusive relationship. I couldn't find anything. So I'm not saying to sound hero, so I just said, look, have my car until you can get your credit rating back. So I gave her my car. So she's got my Mini. It comes back to me next Saturday.
So she's got a car?
She's got a car. Yeah, she's got a car now. It's taken 6 months.
It's very interesting because, we can talk a lot about physical support for less able customers trying to buy cars, and we can try and put in stuff around that. But then how do we address, well, we're not addressing the emotional side of it. We're not addressing it anyway for just women or anyone who feels unsure about buying. But then people that have come out of difficult relationships, people who have zero confidence, people who have mental health issues, people that have had all their confidence stripped from them. It requires an awful lot of confidence in the first place to step into a dealership and start a conversation that might involve haggling, might involve finance conversations, might involve, worse still, private adverts and going to a driveway, as you say, to look at a car. No idea about the provenance, the background, the context, anything. I mean, I don't know where we start, but we start by raising it.
We start by raising it. And because I just sort of thought, this isn't safe. So, it's not safe. It's not safe for her to do that,
Yeah.
And there must be a better way to do that. There must be somewhere you can phone or the female garage that's going to be started soon by all these women. I'm not sure who's starting it, but I can't wait. Where you'd feel safe.
Or a mechanic or a technician to come with you.
Yes.
That you can hire them for an hour and say, can you come with me? To run a check on it, a basic check, ask the basic questions that I don't need to ask. Also, just be maybe a male physical presence by my side.
Yeah, or a female mechanic to go with you.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have enough. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, until we have.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
But,
some system or some way of acknowledging that people are vulnerable and that, yes, disability doesn't just come in one form.
No.
Oh, my goodness, I'd love to do another hour on this, but we are sadly out of time. So it's last question for both of you. It's our little life lessons section. Lisa, coming to you first. What life lesson have you got for people listening who are thinking, I'd like to work at Motability, I'd like a kind of CMO type role that you've had, I'd like a career like you've had? I don't know, take it any which way you like. What have you got for us?
So I did give this a little bit of thought, and I think the things I would like to have known are like, know what only you can do. And I know that's really hard if you're thinking about a career, but be confident about what it is you could bring, and therefore what work you want to do, what job you want to do, and find out about and take your own skills, what only you are good at, and then think about what job you want to do, so that you can have a job that you really connect to and you feel emotional about and passionate about. I have always loved my jobs, and I think that is in part my superpower. And I think trying to find that early rather than waiting till you stumble across the job you like, being more planful about it is a really, really good thing. And my other top tip for anyone looking for a job is speak to people. And the people you speak to, ask them to introduce you to someone else, or if not someone's else, 2 or 3 other people, so that you're always in conversations and learning more about how you can access the area that you want to go into.
There you go, a little pot of gold right there. Liz, no pressure. I think you are phenomenal. I find you phenomenal in talking about women getting their voices heard in organisations or industries. What's your life lesson for us today?
My life lesson is don't wait. I don't know, lots of people are waiting for something to happen. And so my thing is, as a woman, whatever age you are, start it now. Like, do something. So it doesn't matter, all these things we've talked about today, do something really small, just do it. I actually picked that up from Rich Curtis when I worked with him, and he just said, the road to hell is paved with loads of good intentions. Do something. My other thing would be find your tribe. You're going to be much happier being with people where you feel totally comfortable and accepted. I really loved the media because I felt really at home there. I felt like there was a really mixed bag of people who didn't care about all sorts of different things, and it was great fun. So find your tribe. And the other thing is you should probably ask for a pay rise.
Boom, mic drop. Thank you very much. What a beautiful episode. I love you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.